Hello, Music Multiverse listeners, and welcome to Beyond Your Radio, and welcome to Albums from the Leaf. This is episode 8 of the year 2024. This is where we talk about one of our favorite countries that makes great music, maybe doesn't get enough notoriety for it, and that's Canada. And our panelists have brought an album apiece to share, but before we get to them, let's see if we can't get you subscribed. If you're not already, of course. If you click the subscribe button, it makes it easier for you to find our latest programs as well as the past. And there's some real cool ones that we did a while back. But let's find out what our panelists have for us tonight. So tonight on the panel, well, he's, let's see, what has he been doing? He's been on the QEW looking for a place to happen. The Grateful Dude. It's all coming back to her now. Damn, Deb Armitage Hicks Maloney. And she knows when it's safe to dance. When I'm not on the dance floor, Susie Q. So how are you guys all tonight?
Peachy.
Doing great. Wonderful.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to what you brought. And some of it's a mystery to me. So let's start off with let's go with Deb. What have you brought from the Leaf?
Well, this female artist, she was born in 1965 in Timmins, Ontario. She grew up a very poor child. When from the young age of maybe 9, 10 years old, her mom would wake her up to go sing at the bowling alley from midnight to 1 to get tips so that their family could have money for food. That's a way to make sure your kids are earning their keep. Both parents died in a car crash. She was trying to strike out on her own and had to come home to take care of her siblings. But in 1992, I guess it was, she got her break. She was 28 years old, and she changed her name from Eileen Twain to Shania Twain. And Shania is an Native American word that means on my way. So that's fitting. She recorded one album. Didn't really get Nashville to listen to it. She wasn't, she was Canadian in the first place, and they didn't think she was old enough to actually have any country type sorrows to write about, but little did they know what her life was growing up. And then after that, she met Mutt Lange, who is the famous producer that even I know. So after they released an album in 1997, they released her third album, and it was the second one to be produced by Mutt Lange, and that is Come On Over. And that's the album that I'm reviewing today. I would say that I enjoyed her because I also enjoyed the likes of Patsy Cline. And to me, it was kind of crossover. It wasn't real twangy country, had some pop, more energy to it. It's a 60-minute long album, 12 songs. And I think there were 4 hits on that. From This Moment On, I Feel Like a Woman, that every single person will know whether they know the album or not. The timeless love song, You're Still the One. They're still playing that at weddings, I'm sure. And a little back story on That Don't Impress Me Much. Her and her sister or girlfriend were standing in the kitchen, and the girlfriend was looking at a tabloid and said, "Hey, look at this thing about Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow, and look at this, like a naked picture." And she goes, "Nah, that don't impress me much." And then we all know that song. So it's a really well produced song. Every song is good. Every song has its own little touch to it. Her songwriting tells a story, and country songs, they should tell stories. They're not all sad. They're not all, well, woe is me that I had to eat the goulash, they called it, which was pieces of bread and sugar and water. So she went from she went from the poorest of the poor to right there at the top. I would say if there's anybody watching the show that hasn't heard this album, I'd be shocked. So I don't think I enlightened many people, but I knew that you guys hadn't reviewed her. She became, when that album came out, the one that I'm reviewing, best-selling country album ever released at that point. Um, Best-selling studio album by a female. And Mark, I'm so sorry, but best-selling album by a Canadian. So, and it was country, so I think they beat the Tragically Hip there, probably, huh?
Well, the Hip never
Dun,
had any
dun.
of the record sales that would be anything of that nature. I mean, yeah, when you're a pop country artist, where she has
Yeah,
the best-selling Canadian album of all time.
yeah, yep.
Unless that's been eclipsed by Alanis Morissette.
Okay, and
So,
that could be. I know that was that at the time this particular album came out. And then she broke Patsy Cline's most albums sold by a female country artist. So I wasn't surprised that I like Shania Twain because I love Patsy Cline. So that's my album for tonight on episode 8.
little story on her. I believe we watched The Masked Singer.
Mm.
Didn't she, when she went to Los Angeles, she stayed with the father of the one panelist, Sue.
Oh, thick?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
Thick.
really?
Yeah, I think Thick put her up
Alan
in
Thicke?
the house,
Yeah.
but she was there. Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. Well, I know that Toby Keith taught her how to put chew between her
Cheek
lip
and
and
gum.
gum.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go.
I got that.
And she's had that lip fungus ever since.
No.
So,
Oh, and she has Lyme's disease. Yeah, she got Lyme's disease. That was terrible. Yeah, that really was a bad thing. So
Maybe from the
we,
chew.
yeah.
no, she got bit by a tick in Switzerland. I watched the
Tick-
show on her, so
Nothing worse than a
I don't know her
Swiss tick.
personally.
You kind of know a lot about
Swiss
her.
tick.
She's here right now.
Yes, yeah. Grateful dude, what did you bring from the Leaf?
Oh, I got lots of fun stuff on this one. So
Uh-oh.
I am doing the Canadian crooner.
Oh, okay.
Best known as Michael Bublé.
Ah,
Wow, I can't believe what I read, dug up on him. So he really didn't start his musical career till 18, when his grandfather in Italy, who was a plumber, started trading plumbing jobs if they put his grandson on stage. And
wow.
that's how he made his mark. But when he was 9 and 10, he didn't want to be a singer-off. He wanted to be a hockey player. He
course.
played
we all?
hockey since he was 5 and was almost got in with the Canucks.
Okay.
Yep, but they cut him and said he just wasn't good enough. So then he became a plumber.
Apparently they didn't need a plumber.
So then he became a plumber for 6 years, and then he got his break. And after he got his break, he basically tried rock and roll at first. It just wasn't his thing. So he went what they call traditional standards, traditional pop, basically in the same direction as Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, the old crooners. He's got a very entertaining voice.
Mhm.
I listened to 3 of his albums between yesterday and today, including the album that I'm going to showcase in a minute. And the guy's got a very good voice. This particular album is his last album, called Higher. Let me get back to my notes. I lost them for a half a second there. But Higher was done in 2018. It's basically a collection of other people's works, but got some heavy hitters helping. Paul McCartney did a bunch of arranging on this album and produced the album. And he does a duet of I better pull the album up before my brain goes gaga on me. I'm sorry, guys. I'm usually
Okay.
better prepared than this, but my brain is not where it's supposed to be today. There we go. He does Crazy with Willie Nelson, who did the song too. And very good version. Very good version. It was a full duet and very good version. He did songs on this one like My Valentine, which was Paul McCartney composed a little different version of the original song. He did Don't Get Around Much, Bring It On Home to Me. It's a good version of that. Don't take your love from me. Smile. Just all pop, and Mr. Crooner, and very enjoyable, very listenable. Whether you like the old crooners or not, I grew up with him, so there's some affinity in my heart. But he's won like 5 Grammys, including 2022 best song. He's got a whole bunch of other awards. I mean, just bookshelves of them. So, and he's still singing to this day. He does a lot of concert, but mostly in Canada. He doesn't fare down here too often. So, Mark, back to you.
Didn't you want? There was a recent single.
Oh yeah. He did a March 8th of this year. He did a single. Theoretically, there's an album on its way, but he did a single called Spicy Margarita. And it's very Latin and very, I want to get up in salsa. So very, very good song. You guys should check that out. It's on the singles right now.
Is that a duet with Rico Suave or what? All right, nice. The Michael Bublé is that the best crooner in Canada ever? Maybe who knows? I
The
guess he would be
Canadian
up there.
crooner.
Yeah. Sue.
Oh, so I'm gonna throw the wrench into things, I guess. This
Good.
person, I don't know a lot about them because I've been searching for new people that I don't know. And I've been looking for bluesy, jazzy type people, and nothing against Canada. I love Canada, but there's a different style out that way up north that doesn't always resonate with me. It's a lot of the songs, the lyrics are lighter than American style blues and jazz. Maybe I'm completely wrong here, but that's just my take.
True.
So
And
I found this person, and I don't know how old she is on this very day, but I do know a little bit about her. I'm still learning about her as I go, and I'm going to completely destroy her name. Maybe you know her, Mark. I don't know. It's Ndidi Anakulolu.
God bless
So-
you.
Hello.
That's capital NDIDIONUKWULU.
Okay.
You know her?
Yes.
You do.
Yeah.
Do you have any of her albums?
I do not. No.
Okay.
Wow.
So
So
she is
ding, ding,
she's
ding,
a Canadian singer songwriter. She was born in British Columbia. She did not start her career until she was a young adult. And she basically, I want to say she broke in as kind of bluesy, jazzy. She spent some time in New York City and got involved with a lot. Well, everybody's in New York City, so she started to get into some
New York
different
City.
genres at that time. Some R&B. She's also since kind of dabbled in gospel, country. And I want to say she has 4 or 5 albums. I think 5 albums. I could be wrong. I was going to talk about another album, which maybe I'll do another time, but then I thought I should start at the beginning, so I went back to her debut, which was released in 2006, called No, Comma, I Never. And it is considered R&B blues. It's got 11 songs. I'm not going to really name names because I don't think, I don't know. It's not like she's not mainstream enough that you'd be like, oh yeah, I knew that one and this one. I think it's a really solid album. She's got a really nice voice. Comparing this album to the other album that I was gonna do, production-wise, this one definitely sounds a bit more tinnier, kind of a little tinny, but it doesn't really bother me so much. It's still really well done. The arrangements are great. The music is great. It's a really good matchup, I think, between her vocals and the instruments. And I almost got, I don't want to lean too much into it, but I almost got a shade of like Joan Osborne a little bit. That kind of like a touch of maybe gospel-y mix in there, but not overkill. She definitely stands on her own. I wouldn't compare her to Joan Osborne. But I think that she's going to be someone really interesting to follow. And this album, again, I would say this one is definitely bluesy, R&B-ish a bit, and storytelling-ish, so to speak. It's just a nice album to listen to. It's light, it's not heavy, it's not like it doesn't bring you down. It's not that kind of blues at all. I want to say she also, I think she co-wrote almost every single one of the songs with a gentleman. I didn't recognize his name, but I'm excited because I do like her style. It's a really nice style to listen to. So I'm kind of interested to see what her other albums are going to sound like. And yeah, that's about it. If you're looking for like a bluesy singer who stands on her own and has a nice sound, this would be a good one.
Cool.
I don't know how to say her name, but
Is it an
Nadidi.
Inuit name? Is that what it looks like?
Nadidi.
It seems like all those letters sounded Hawaiian.
Yeah, I don't know.
The DDO. That's
Nadidi.
her name.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they don't even try to Anukawulu.
Okay.
But I don't know if I was ever like I knew where she originated from or whatever, except it was British. I knew she was Canadian. Something about the it's a band that she was part of that she guested on, and that's where
She
I
was
got.
she was in a rock band, I think, for a while. I think that's actually how she first started.
Okay.
She was into blues, but I think maybe when she came back to Toronto from New York City, she started out in a band like that. But yeah, so
Yeah, I remember her name being on a venue list for Massey Hall a while
okay.
back, long time. I mean, I I don't know of any records lately, so I definitely want to check out. That's all I remember.
Well, she did have something in 2018, maybe it looks like. She was nominated for, well, I don't know what this means. 2019 Western Canadian Music Awards Blues Artist of the Year.
Okay,
She's
so
also a
there's something out there.
Juno nominated singer-songwriter. So
Okay.
so she's got some semi-current things, I believe.
And does she have a website or no? Did you?
I found her on YouTube. So
Okay, all right. Cool. Well, good. I like that. That's pushed me to give that a well, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe it's going to wind up being in my album listen challenge at one point. So let's see.
Ooh, yeah.
All right. All right. So well, that's a good one, man. When I first heard this monotonous, repetitive line on radio, I was not as exuberant as most of the Canadian bleed over radio that it came from. It was this going right out of my head, going right out of my head, going right out of my head. Well, yeah, I get the idea. Is there anything else? But I hadn't heard it in its context. But that was the lead single, Out of My Head, Not Going, by the band Junkhouse from Hamilton, Ontario. Now, in actuality, this is the 90s, so it's like 1993 when this debut came out. And it kind of hits that grunge rock, but they have one thing that no band had at that time, and that's frontman Tom Wilson. By that name, Tom Wilson, you'd think not much special. But what you have is I don't know, maybe he's 6'6", 6'7", and if he put on a raincoat, he would have been in I Know What You Did Last Summer. But just a tall man with,
Yeah.
and he's got this funk, deep blues vocal and style of delivery for this band in 1993 that was unlike any other. He is also of the Mohawk tribe. So at that time, he did not disclose that kind of information, but now it is all out there, and he has written books, and he's been, putting things together for all the Aboriginal, being a real spokesperson. So September 21st, 1993, and he'd been groomed for this. He'd been in another band called, I think it was called the Florida Project or something like that, with some other Canadians. So he was seasoned, and the bandmates here deliver this grungy rock, deep funk blues, almost because of him, making it sound like it was some sort of swampy feel. And that is the album Strays. I will obviously put it up in the corner like I normally do, but that cover tells you just about everything. So Out of My Head comes out, and then it was Praying for the Rain was the next single, and then Give Me the Love. While its sound is moderately simple, there's nothing chord changes and deep progression or anything of that nature. It is the rhythm and percussion that keep this rolling, and the content and swagger of Tom Wilson's vocal. Of note, Lisa Germano, of violin fame and vocal backup for John Mellencamp, is on the record as well. I don't know how she became into the project, although I have a feeling it had to do with the production from Malcolm Byrne. I think Malcolm Byrne produced Joni Mitchell album Red Dirt, which won a Grammy.
Mhm.
So he was a seasoned professional. He might have known her and got her involved. It's his vocal against a female vocal, and having that was something that everybody kind of picked up on. And eventually, after this album, the second album, Tom Wilson would perform with Sarah McLachlan on a song called Burned Out Car on the follow-up record. And Sarah McLachlan at that point was probably the #1 selling female artist at the time. Other songs on here of note: Jesus That Sings the Blues, Wait on Me Mama, and for the Grateful Dude, Big Brown Turtle. Great tune, but unfortunately it is not about a turtle. It is about a 73 Chrysler Newport that sort of gets stuck in the
Looks
mud.
like a turtle.
Tom Wilson is Junkhouse only released 3 albums, I believe it was. I did see them live. Where were we? We're at the Town Ballroom. No, not the Town Ballroom. The Trough Amador Cafe. Tom then left the band dissolved, and now he is in a side project that he's been doing for years with a couple of great Canadians, and that's Blackie and the Rodeo Kings, which is basically taking that kind of music and turning into some psychobilly country blues rock and folk that you have to hear to believe. So that's mine for today. So Strays from Junkhouse.
Cool.
And we lost the Grateful Dude somehow. He just disappeared.
Just disappeared.
Yeah.
You didn't
He's
say
trying,
goodbye.
He
he's
fell
trying
into
to
the
find his big
ocean.
Is
brown
it me?
turtle.
Is it me?
Yeah, did I do something wrong? Are you offended? I mean, God, bless. Obviously, I'd like to thank my panelists, leastly the Grateful Dude, because he left early. So the great picks tonight. We'll do this again in 2 weeks because there's so much out there. Please like and comment. Check us out on other programs. I'm trying to get back to album for today. It's been a nightmare lately, but I don't do this for a living. If I did, that means there's a Patreon and you can give me $60,000 a year and I can live. But apparently that's not the case. Although our subscription list is growing, we're almost at 100, which is I turn around and it's almost at 100. And I haven't put out. I usually put out a video a day. Maybe that was my problem. I put too much. Now that there's not enough people are subscribing, because wait a minute, where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Please do not miss panelist favorites coming this Friday. 1 album wonders. Everyone's picking 5. 1 album that this band or this artist only had 1 album and they absolutely loved it. And I want to hear them say, I love this album, and then nothing. What happened? And there are some humdingers out there, and I know the Grateful Dude already picked his 5.
Oh my gosh.
One of them has got a story behind it like no other that does not come from me. I heard it through some other YouTuber, so I can't wait to share that. We have album review Saturday coming up, and we're going to be, again, I'll give you a hint, we're going to be talking some dark matter. Gee, I wonder what album that might be. And then on Unknown Sundays, we're going to talk Terry Reid. If you don't know who Terry Reid is, this is a fun story that hits home for one of our panelists. Go Beyond Your Radio with us, a real music appreciation channel. Thank you for watching, and as always, happy listening.
Bye.